Hi, I'm Jilly G. Welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to show you gingerbread cookies. Gluten-free, of course, and sugar-free as well. But not very many ingredients go into these cookies either. As you can see, there's really not a lot. Well, there's kind of a lot of spices, but minimal other stuff. But I just wanted to say thank you so much for everybody that is watching my videos and making my recipes. It makes me so happy when you tell me that you tried my recipe and you and your family enjoyed it. That's what the best thing is about food, is making it and sharing it with others. And I get to make and share it with all of you. Even if you can't come and eat it, you can still make it and share it with your friends and family. So now for the cookie recipe. This recipe is really easily doubled. And you would just, of course, double all of your ingredients and you'd get more cookies, is the point of doubling. For today, I'm just going to show you a single batch. But most of the time I do actually double this recipe. Of course, you get more cookies. You can even do even bigger cookies if you wanted to. Or gingerbread house or something like that. First up in this bowl is 3 cups of my gluten-free flour. And in this bowl, I have a half a teaspoon of baking soda, 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, a half a teaspoon of salt, 1½ teaspoons of ginger, 1½ teaspoons of cinnamon, a half a teaspoon of cloves, and a half a teaspoon of allspice. All in there. And just mix all of this together. Once that is mixed together, set that aside. And I have half a cup of butter. It's 1 stick, very soft. And I'm just gonna mix it around just a little bit. To my butter, I have a 1/4 cup of honey. This recipe normally calls for brown sugar. I'll give you the equivalents to that if you'd like to use brown sugar. But today is honey. And I'm just gonna mix my butter and my honey just a little bit. You could do this in a stand mixer if you wanted to. And 3/4 cup of molasses. And to my honey, butter, molasses, 1 egg. And just mix this till it's really combined. I'm going to switch to my spatula to stir in the flour. And I'm just going to go all in one. And just mix this till it's really combined. Scraping the bowl as you go. Make sure to get the bottom. Once your dough is all mixed together, get some plastic wrap. You could just leave it in the bowl and cover this and stick it in the fridge. But I like to put it in plastic wrap. And you could divide this in half and wrap those separate halves in plastic, but this is fine. You could even make this the day before. And I kind of flatten it out a little bit. And I'm going to stick this in the fridge for at least an hour or overnight. While my dough is still in the fridge, I've gotten my cookie sheets ready, parchment paper for rolling, extra flour for rolling, and my cookie cutters. My oven is preheating to 350. And I don't know about you, I have so many cookie cutters, I can never decide which ones I want to use. But I have all different sizes and shapes, all for the holiday. I even have some little teeny tiny mini ones. Surprisingly, out of all of the cookie cutters I have, this is the biggest gingerbread man cookie cutter that I have. Which he's not very big. And I don't even have a lady to go with him. Just put those in there. And my dough has been chilling in the fridge for about an hour. And if at any point during your rolling and cutting out, if you notice that your cookies are getting super soft, or your dough is getting super soft, just stick it in the fridge. And I just have a bench scraper. I'm just going to divide my dough in half. Just makes it a little easier to manage. And I'm going to wrap this up and put this other half in the fridge while I roll out this first batch. But first, a little bit of flour. And I just make sure you have enough flour all over. And then just start rolling out your dough. And I keep flour underneath it and keep it moving. Once it gets too big to flip over, you can just turn your parchment paper. And I'm not worried about extra flour because it is kind of a soft dough. And you want your dough to all be the same thickness. And you can go as thick or as thin as you'd like them to be. If you roll your dough a little bit thinner, they'll be crispier cookies. Try to get your cookie cutter floured. And then just start cutting out your cookies. Dipping your cookie cutter in flour as needed. And just move them to your cookie sheet. I try to get as many as I can out of my dough. And then I just have my little offset palette knife here that is very helpful for transferring your cookies to your cookie sheet. And again, if you feel like your dough is too soft, you can stick it back in the fridge. And if you need to, you could even stick your whole cookie sheet in the fridge with your cookies cut out on it. And if you're a little rough and an arm falls off, just put it back on. I'm going to put my first cookie sheet in the oven. You could double them up and put them in the oven at the same time. But you want them to be, enough space that they're not going to stick together. So this will go for about 8 to 10 minutes. I'll check it at 8 and see what we've got. And I just lightly feel them to see how soft they are. You can go longer and have a crisper cookie if you want, but I like them a little bit soft. And I'm just going to transfer them to my cooling rack. And I have another tray over here. If you're going to do a bunch of different sizes, I try and put the same size of cookies on the tray at the same time. That way they all kind of cook the same. But this one has kind of a Mod Podge of different sizes and shapes. So into the oven for 8 minutes. And I'm just going to keep going with the rest of my dough until all of my cookies are baked. I had everything ready to show you my white chocolate buttercream, but my battery died on my camera. So I'll show you where I'm at now. I was heating up some heavy cream, 1.5 cups in my saucepan here, and I had about 8 ounces of white chocolate in here. And I've just made a white chocolate ganache. And I have 3 sticks of softened butter that I have put in my mixer And then once they're where I want them to be, I'm gonna add in this white chocolate ganache mixture. So I'm just whipping my butter until it's really light and fluffy. I'm gonna start drizzling in my white chocolate ganache mixture a little bit at a time on low speed. I know it looks really chunky and liquidy, but turn the speed back up to medium and then high. And just when you think it's never ever gonna come together, it does. It's looking really good, but I want to scrape my bowl down just to make sure everything is getting mixed in. I'm gonna mix on high for just a few more seconds. Looks pretty amazing. Give it a good scrape. Super light and fluffy. Again, you can use whatever your favorite frosting is. I just like frosting that doesn't have powdered sugar. So get your pastry bag, and I'm gonna start filling it up very carefully. These cookies are also good with a cream cheese buttercream. And I think that's about all that I can fit for now. And because this frosting is a lot thicker, we need to snip our end off so we can move it down. And I've made a mess of the top of my bag. But twist the top of it, very good. Get your parchment ready. So once you've got your pastry bag all ready to go, I think I have frosting on everything. So I have a little coupler and a ring and a tip. They don't really fit in these reusable bags, but you can just stick your bag in there and then hold it, and it works really well. I know it's kind of a pain, but it works really good. So get a cookie and just start decorating however you like. So I cleaned everything up a little bit. I put my buttercream in the fridge for just a few minutes. My hands were kind of warm. My kitchen was warm. So now we can decorate. And just get yourself a cookie. Little holly berry. Gingerbread, mini gingerbread. Kind of fun. They look like little snowflake gingerbread men. Let's do a little mitten. Pretty fun. and pretty cute. You can decorate them however you like. You could even do different colors. They have all kinds of different sprinkles nowadays. But I kind of like the fun little simple look. I'm going to stop right there and taste this little mitten. Those are perfect gingerbread cookies. If you bake them longer, they'll be a little bit crisper, but really spicy. And if you don't like any of those spices, you could leave one out or add more of another one. But the ginger really comes through. And the white chocolate buttercream, it doesn't really taste like white chocolate. It will harden up a little bit more in the fridge, but there's not a lot of chocolate in there. You could add some vanilla into this buttercream if you wanted to. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, let me know, and we'll see you on the next one.